By now, everyone knows about the 3-minute smudge timer rule for a spirit. It's the way we work out spirits in anything under 3 evidences. This is where you smudge the ghost, whether that be in a hunt, or maybe it events on you and you hit a smudge, or maybe it sets off a motion sensor and you smudge the ghost. And as long as the ghost is under 50% sanity, normal ghosts won't be able to hunt you for 1:30, but a spirit has to be minimum 3 minutes. However, this can cause a lot of problems. Sometimes you can have a ghost that isn't a spirit that just decides to be lazy and take over 3 minutes to hunt you after you smudge it. But I can confirm there is a solution to this problem. And what if I told you you could actually confirm a spirit if you use the right technique? So in this video, I'm going to talk through how you do just that and confirm a spirit. Okay, so there's a lot going on the screen here, but I want to make this as visual as possible because I talk about this a lot on my streams, but I don't have a visual representation of what's exactly going on. So I'm going to try and explain this the best way possible. Before I start, I want to give a shout out to Justly, where I found this technique from. So big shout out to him. Link in the description to his channel. But yes, without further ado, let's talk about this. So before we get into anything, we must read the important info on the screen. We're going to start off with point number 1. Smudge timer starts the moment you hit the smudge button. Smudge is incense, if you don't get what that means. So basically, this is super, super important. Imagine you are getting chased by a ghost around the Tanglewood table, for example. The ghost is chasing you. You get your smudge out in your hand. You tap the button to smudge the ghost. As soon as you click the button to smudge the ghost, incense the ghost, a timer then should start. So whether you are on console, you can maybe use your phone. If you're on PC, I use something called Live Split, which is this program. I'll leave a link in the description to it. Basically, you can set a keybind to start a timer whenever you need to, reset it, etc. That's what I personally use. But anyway, the point is, as soon as you click the button to smudge the ghost, you need to start a timer if you're trying to play a game of Phasmo where we're playing on less evidence and spirit is an option. Now, as soon as you hit that smudge stick, if you continue the hunt, for example, and the ghost gets a bit close, you start panicking a little bit, you get another smudge stick out, and boom, you smudge again. This does not, and I make this clear, this does not overwrite the first smudge stick timer. Don't restart the timer. The timer began when you first smudged the ghost. Other smudge sticks do not count towards this. The only thing the second smudge does is blinds and stuns the ghost, so it can't see you or see you for a few seconds, which is what a smudge is meant to do. But the timer does not get overruled. Now, the other thing I want to mention as well, some people get confused with this. At the end of the hunt is not when the time begins. It's as soon as you smudge the ghost during the hunt. Now, I say during the hunt, this rule also applies where a ghost timer can start if you smudge the ghost outside of a hunt. So the best way to confirm this is either if the ghost does an event, that isn't a misform, by the way. So any time when you can see the ghost visually in front of you, you can start a smudge, you can smudge the ghost, and you can technically start a timer where the ghost can't re-hunt you. Or motion sensor, tier 3 is quite good, where the ghost walks, let's say, directly over the motion sensor and you're right on top of it and you smudge it at that very moment, or really a second or two later because the smudge stick has quite a large radius on, then that will also work. We talked about point 1 and point 2. So the second smudge, as you know, does not overrule the first one on the timer. So this third point we're going to come to in a bit because this will get a little bit complicated. Now, let's start with all ghosts other than demon and spirit. So imagine this is any ghost: Yuri, Mare, Revenant, Fae, literally anything. Let's get this here. All others ghosts. We'll also get a pen out and put a little line down here so you can visually see this a little bit better. Okay, so all other ghosts other than demon and spirits will not be able to hunt you again 1:30 seconds after you smudge the ghost for the first time. So like I was saying just before, as soon as you hit that first smudge stick and you've started that timer, the ghost will then not be able to re-hunt you for 1:30 seconds after that very moment that you smudge the ghost. So it doesn't matter if you smudge it at the start of a hunt, the end of a hunt, It's a minute and 30 after that first smudge has been used. Now, the ghost literally cannot hunt you for a minute 30. It will not happen. You have a minute 30 where you're 100% safe if it isn't a demon or a spirit. Let's now move on to a demon. Now, a demon has a slightly different time. Instead of a minute 30, its timer is a minute. So after a minute's time, a demon can then re-hunt you and you are in danger. So whenever I smudge a ghost and I know it's a demon, I'm thinking in my head, oh God, I've only got a minute before I can get re-hunted. Now, let's move on to the big one, the spirits. This, instead of a minute 30, is double. 3 whole minutes a spirit will not be able to hunt you for, which is a long time, actually. And even without a smudged timer, you can kind of be like, right, this is taking ages to hunt me. But spirit is 3 minutes. I'm, of course, going to get onto the way to confirm a spirit soon. This is just the basis of which your knowledge needs to be good on. So this is where this information becomes a little bit interesting. And this is where we get on to how we are confirming. 1 minute and 30 seconds before a ghost can hunt you. Now, that also means, as I was saying before, if you use a second smudge stick after the first one, and you start that minute and 30 seconds, the second smudge stick does not reset the timer. Now, that occurs for the whole 1 minute and 30 seconds. So, theoretically, if you smudge the ghost in a hunt, you start a 1 minute and 30 second timer, or you start a timer in general, it gets to 1 minute and 28 seconds or 29 seconds. You smudge it again, let's say in an event or where it goes over the motion sensor, it is completely invalidated. You didn't start another timer. Only when it gets to exactly a minute 30 or more will your new smudge stick actually start another minute and 30 second timer. So let's put it into perspective. Let's make this easy to understand. You're getting chased by a ghost. You incense it. You start a minute and 30 timer. You're then, the hunt ends. You're just chilling in the house. And then an event happens right next to you. And the timer is 1 minute and 10 seconds. You then smudge again at a minute and 10 seconds or a minute and 15 seconds. That smudge stick doesn't mean anything. It hasn't added on any time. The ghost can then re-hunt you 20 seconds later. If you smudged it at a minute and 10 seconds, it can then hunt you a minute and 20 seconds later because it didn't count because you did it under a minute and 30 seconds. So the only way to do this safely is to wait exactly a minute and 30 seconds, smudge again, and then it can't hunt you for a minute and 30 seconds again. That's how that works. This also applies to a demon, but with only 1 minute. So you smudge a demon. After a minute, it can then re-hunt you. If you smudge at all again, if you smudge the ghost at all again under a minute, it will not reset the 1 minute timer. It has to be over a minute to reset the 1 minute timer to be safe. This also applies to spirit. So it's 3 minutes instead of 1 minute 30 or 1 minute for a demon. It's 3 minutes for a spirit. So if you smudge a spirit at 2 minutes and 45 seconds, for example, after you've already smudged it, it won't start a 3 minute timer again. It will only start the 3 minute timer if you smudge at 3 minutes or above. So this is, you might be seeing where I'm getting here. But with a spirit, and this is where the technique is going to be proven here. If you smudge a ghost that is a spirit at 2 minutes and 45 seconds, a spirit can then hunt you 15 seconds later. But no other ghost can if you smudged it 2 minutes and 45 seconds after the first smudge. So you're running along, you smudge a ghost. Let's say it's a Yuri. You've waited 2 minutes and 45 seconds for it to hunt. Now, as you can see, that's above 1 minute and 30 seconds. So if you smudge it 2 minutes and 45 seconds, maybe it's just being really lazy and not hunting you for some reason. Let's say it's a Yuri. 2 minutes and 45 seconds, it hasn't hunted you for. You then smudge it 2 minutes and 45 seconds. It can't hunt you for another 1 minute and 30 seconds because you've exceeded the 1 minute and 30 already. If that makes sense. With a spirit, if you smudge at 2 minutes and 45 seconds, because it's under 3 minutes after your first smudge timer, it can then hunt you 15 seconds later. And that is where I'm getting to the technique here. So, for a spirit, to confirm a spirit in this situation, what you do is, and I'd only recommend doing this, and this is the way I personally do it. Let's say you're playing No Evidence or Nightmare or Insanity mode, and Spirit is an option. What I do is I incense the ghost in a hunt. It looks pretty normal. I'll incense the ghost in a hunt. I will then like go and hide, or I'll keep looping it or whatever. And I've started my timer the moment I hit that smudge stick. So hit the smudge stick, click, start a timer at the exact same time. I then go hide, and now I'm waiting. If it takes 3 minutes, that makes me suspicious that this could be a spirit. I have had even demons, by the way, take 3 minutes to hunt me after smudging them before. So please be wary that demons can be lazy too. However, it's been 3 minutes, okay, and then it starts hunting me at about, let's say, 3 minutes and 5 seconds, or 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Anytime over 3 minutes, I'm going to be suspicious that this could be a spirit, because it's been 3 minutes since I smudged it that it has now hunted me. So what I will then do in the next hunt, I will do the exact same thing. I will let it chase me around, and I will incense it, preferably later into the hunt, because then maybe it'll be easier to like get away. But anyway, I'll incense the ghost in a hunt again. Now, what I will then do is go to the ghost room, preferably with a crucifix down, just so that if it does spawn under 3 minutes, I'm still safe. I'll go to the ghost room, I'll get a motion sensor down, and I will sit and I will wait. Now, this is where you got to get the sweet spot perfect. So you're sitting and you're waiting. You're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting. It's been 2 minutes, let's say at this point. The ghost still has not re-hunted you yet. You get to 2 minutes, and this is what I think of the sweet spot is 45 seconds. 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So 15 seconds. So it gives you a lot of time before a spirit can then hunt you again. The ghost, if you're lucky, may event at that very moment, or around 2 minutes and 45 seconds. That is an opportunity to then smudge it again. Or, which is why I mentioned the motion sensor, if the motion sensor goes off around 2 minutes and 45 seconds, you then use a smudge stick. Again, it's really important that you actually smudge the ghost and you don't miss it. Because if you miss it, then this whole thing's invalid. So as long as the motion sensor goes off around, honestly, 2 minutes 30 to 2 minutes maximum 50, I would say, and you smudge the ghost, a spirit can then hunt you 15 seconds later. Let's say it was 2 minutes and 45 seconds. A spirit can hunt you 15 seconds later. Whereas other ghosts won't be able to hunt you for minimum a minute if it's a demon. But any other ghost will be minute 30. So I like to personally, just to be extra sure, say if it hunts me under a minute, then 100% of the time, it has to be a spirit. Because you smudge the ghost at 2 minutes 45 seconds, which is 15 seconds under when your second smudge is then valid. So technically, a spirit can hunt you any time after that initial 3 minute smudge timer. So I'm going to summarize the method all in one go, and I'm going to explain afterwards real quick why this might not be sometimes a good idea and why this is sometimes a good idea to fully be sure about a spirit. In hunt number 1, when you finally hit 50% sanity and the ghost has started chasing you, then what I will do is I will smudge the ghost. I'll start a timer. If it gets to 3 minutes, it makes me suspicious that it's probably a spirit, because spirits will only hunt after 3 minutes. I will then do another hunt where I will smudge the ghost again. When I smudge the ghost again, I will then start a new timer, and I will then go to the ghost room, bring the motion sensor into the ghost room, place it down, and sit with a crucifix underneath so you don't get spawned on. And I'll sit and I'll wait there and I'll let the time tick. If it hunts after a minute 30 but below 3 minutes, then I know obviously there and then that it isn't a spirit, because spirits can't hunt for 3 minutes. However, if it gets really late into the smudge timer, 2 minutes and 45 seconds, again, I think is the sweet spot, I will then incense the ghost again, but this is really important. I must make sure I definitely incense the ghost. So whether that be a ghost event that happens at 2 minutes 45 or a ghost event that happens around 2 minutes 45, I will incense it then. The reason why I don't do it really late, by the way, into the timer is because the smudge stick has a timer on it. So let's say you smudge at 2 minutes and 59 seconds. The smudge stick is still usable for the whole duration of the burn. So it then, as soon as it hits 3 minutes, it then can, if you're halfway through a burn, it can then trigger the ghost to then start another 3 minute timer. So that's why I say about 2 minute 45 is a sweet spot. Anyway, I'll smudge the ghost. Again, I will reset my timer there and then really quick. And if it hunts under 1 minute to be 100% sure, but mostly 1 minute and 30 seconds. If it hunts under 1 minute and 30 seconds, it has to be a spirit, because a spirit shouldn't be able to hunt you for 3 minutes after a smudge stick. But if you use a second smudge under that 3 minutes, it does not count. So it can then hunt you after 3 minutes after the initial smudge stick, if that makes sense. I hope this has been helpful. I hope I've explained this well. It is a bit complicated and quite hard to explain. There are some problems, though, I will quickly address. I would only ever do this if at the beginning I had all 4 smudges. First smudge to do the 3 minute timer. Makes me suspicious of a spirit. Took 3 minutes. Second smudge stick to smudge it again and start the timer and do the methods. Third smudge stick to actually smudge the ghost during that time period. And then the fourth smudge stick is good to have on you in case it does hunt under 1 minute and 30 seconds, or you wait the whole duration and it hunts again. At least you have 1 more smudge stick left to keep you safe. The problem that can happen, which has happened to me a couple of times with this method, is if a spirit decides to not hunt you for 4 minutes and 30 seconds after the initial smudge stick, then that can skew it a little bit. That can be a bit of a problem. So the reason being is it takes 1 minute 30 after the 3 minute timer. But spirits can sometimes take ages to hunt on top of their 3 minutes if they choose to. Most of the time, though, this method does work. And when it does work, it's the only way to confirm a spirit 100% in Phasmophobia. The amount of times I've smudged a ghost, it's taken 3 minutes. I've smudged a ghost, it's taken 3 minutes. I've smudged a ghost, and then it's taken only 1 minute 30. And then I realized there and then I've used 3 smudges. And then I was really confident it was a spirit, and then ended up not being a spirit. It's done me in. So hopefully this method can be used by you to confirm a spirit. The only way to confirm a spirit in Phasmophobia. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Leave a like. If you've got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them in the comment section, responding to any queries you might have. If you didn't quite get it, or if parts you didn't understand, feel free to watch back or leave a comment. And I will see you guys in the next video. Subscribe for more videos like this, and gameplay videos, and crazy challenge videos. See you later.